Galimera, Galimera, Galimera. Good morning, good morning, good morning from me and a lovely Nelly. This is one of our lovely girls. And also down there we got the lovely Sandy. Hello, fella. He's wandering about. There you go. Bless him. And there's Nelly. She's saying hello. She's reading the news for the cats. All right. Right. I've got to show you something this morning. Jane has been insistent that I show you, and Nelly's been reminding me. Jane wants you to have a look at her flowers. All right. They really have come along leaps and bounds. You wouldn't believe that just a few weeks ago, you couldn't actually see any buds coming through at all. And look at them now. Aren't they looking fantastic? There you go. She's really proud of those. Bless her. And so the flowers are looking good. And to be honest, the weather today, it's a little bit dull now, but it's actually looking quite good, actually. Look across the hills, across towards Amberlockaby, and Kerry and that, and Pantocrator is also in that direction as well. And it's looking absolutely glorious at the moment. Looks like it's going to be a nice day. Looking forward to see what Amanda's weather forecast will be for today. But yeah. Oh, we didn't get any rain yesterday either, although it was forecast. We didn't get it, which was good. Although I must admit, if I look up above me at the moment, oh, that's an honest looking cloud. But looking at it, I think it's actually getting blown away at the moment and blown towards town. Town yesterday was absolutely dead. It was very, very quiet in town yesterday. I went out to do some admin and there was no one about. And again, clouds in the sky there, looking towards Laguna and also Kalamaki. The little kids are still not at school. The younger kids are off still. They're just playing at the moment. Obviously getting excited because Easter is on the way as well. That's a big celebration here in Greece. And I've got some news about Easter as well for you. But anyway, there you go. That is the weather day, or how it looks today here in Zakynthos. I know a lot of people like seeing that in the mornings. Grass is coming along very nicely. And I dropped my tablet last night out of the bed, and so I've damaged my tablet. So it's looking a bit battered on my side of everything. I've even got a black line running up the middle. I hope you're not seeing that black line as well, but it might mean new tablet time for Ginge. Anyway, let's crack on with the news. What's been going on in the last 24 hours here in Greece. Little Boots is having a bit of a kip down there. Right then, this is the news for today. It does help if you scroll it up, it saves time. Can I just say once again, thank you for everybody who's tuning in at the moment. I've been getting some very good feedback. Thank you to those people who are dropping me stories as well. It's always greatly appreciated. And again, some of the news today comes out of some of the information that people have been sending me as well. So I just want to say thank you to those people that have been sending me stuff, because it does make my job a bit easier and a little bit quicker to produce stuff as well. Right, okay, so the date today, 21st of April. It's a Wednesday, half-day closing here on a Wednesday. It's day 166 of the lockdown, and COVID in the last 24 hours. Right, COVID infections at the moment across Greece are on the way back up again, unfortunately. Yesterday it was great because we said there was 1,607 new cases across the country. Well, that's gone up today. I can report to you 3,789 new infections across the country, bringing the grand total to 320,629 cases since the pandemic has started. Right, when it comes to new cases entering the country, it seems that number has stabilised. We had 7 reported the day before, and today again it's 7 cases reported on the borders. And at the moment, when it comes to the national stats for cases, new cases, Lefkada's had no new cases, and I think they've been a couple of days now without any cases. There's been 4 new cases on Kefalonia, 4 new cases on Corfu, and there's been 5 cases reported on the national statistics for Zakynthos. Now, when we look on the ground, yes, yesterday I can confirm for you that there were 5 cases recorded yesterday on the island, which is obviously means we're still looking to see if we're going to come out of the deep red status at the moment. But anyway, the doctors for their part say they are restrained at the moment about the way things are going. And they say that it's going to take at least maybe another 10 days here to see our epidemiological data to start to decline. Anyway, the latest information concerning the hospital is that there are now 13 people in the COVID clinic, while in the ICU there are 3 people. Remember, we had 4 people in the ICU, or one of those people has had their condition improve, and it doesn't say whether they've been released from the hospital or whether they have gone into the COVID clinic itself. But at the moment, the stats are 13 people in the COVID clinic, or in the COVID ward, if you want to look at it like that. And we have 3 people in the intensive care unit who are under incubation for the coronavirus. So again, mixed bag there, to be quite honest, as to how things are going on for us. When it comes to cases then, we've had 508 positive cases here on Zakynthos since the beginning of the year. And at the moment for this month, we've had 145 positive confirmed cases here on the ground in Zakynthos, although nationally our stat is round about 150. But the people that I know and are confirmed, the number is 145. So anyway, we'll see how that. Just remind you that in March we did have 184 people who had the virus in that month as well. Anyway, at the moment, when it comes to deaths, unfortunately, deaths across Greece is up. We did report there were 78 new deaths on the last broadcast. Well, today I'm reporting there's been 87 deaths across the country. That brings the death toll at the moment to 9,627 since the pandemic started. The average age of those people is 79 years of age, and 96.4% of those people had underlying health problems or were over the age of 70. And just to put that in context, the average daily death rate in 2019 was probably around about 329 people a day would die from other causes before the onset of COVID. Once again, no deaths reported here on Zakynthos, thank God. And since the pandemic started, we've only had 7 deaths in total. And our last death we had was this month, about 2.5 weeks ago, when an 88-year-old woman passed away. She had underlying health problems, and she passed away due to the COVID virus as well. So at the moment then, when it comes to critical cases, now it's interesting that the critical cases across the country, they've stabilised at the moment to 847 people in ICUs across the country. Obviously, 3 of those are going to be people from Zakynthos. Of that, 520 are male and 327 are female. Now, the interesting thing is, when looking at the numbers have jumped around between male and female, but we are still at 847 people in ICUs. And the magic number regards ICUs for Greece is 900. That's how many ICU beds that the country has. So at the moment, that is the main concern, is that the ICU beds are obviously going to be put under pressure, and there's not going to be enough beds for people suffering from the effects of COVID. But at the moment, it's at 847. Right, some good news for people then. Yesterday, the green list of existing safe travel destinations for Britain placed Zakynthos in the latest review of the Foreign Office and Commonwealth Developments list. And so Zakynthos is looked upon as a green area, all right, and a safe place to come to. Other islands that have been included on the safe list include Corfu, Crete, Rhodes and Kos. The Foreign Office wording says it does not advise against travel, all right? So basically what it's saying is that you can come here if you wish to, if you have a valid reason to come. At the moment, we do know of residents that are trying to get back at the moment, back to the island. And thank you to the guy that sent me the link to the FDO office for this. Basically, reading through the information that is being posted by the Foreign Office up there, the Foreign Office wording does not advise against travel. Everybody's seeing that as a green light, as yes, we are going to be good to go when it gets to the 17th of May, which is when the tourist season will officially start within Greece. Anyway, UK nationals are permitted to enter Greece if they are a permanent resident in the UK or in Greece. If you travel to Greece, you will need to complete a passenger locator form, which is a PLF, at least 24 hours before travel. Failure to do so in advance may result in your carrier not allowing you to travel, or a €500 fine on arrival, or the Greek authorities not allowing you to enter the country. So if you have a residency permit here, you are allowed to travel back here. All right. At the moment, we do have friends of ours, or a friend of ours who's trying to get back at the moment, and she's been running around she's had the vaccine. She's had the 2 injections, but she still has to have the PCR test to be able to leave the UK. All right. Yeah, I know it's crazy. However, in the rules and regulations that's been put out by the British government, they're saying the following. If you travel to Greece, you'll need to complete a passenger locator form, a PLF, at least 24 hours before travel. Failure to do so in advance may result in your carrier not allowing you to travel, and also a €500 fine on arrival, or the Greek authorities may not allow you to enter the country. Now, if you are a permanent resident of Greece or a Greek citizen, you can obviously move from the UK back to Greece. You still need to get a PLF form before travelling. Sorry, it's the other way. I do apologise. If you're a permanent resident of Greece or a Greek citizen and you want to go into the UK, you can do so. However, you're required to have a PLF form before travelling outside of Greece. Now, the Greek government announced that from the 19th of April, arrivals from the UK with a proof of negative COVID-19 PCR test undertaken 72 hours before arrival into Greece are exempted from the need to self-isolate on arrival back into Greece. In addition, they've also announced to UK travellers with the proof of 2 COVID-19 vaccinations completed at least 14 days before travel, you're also exempt isolation as well. And what they're also saying as well, until there is means to certify vaccinations for international travel, all travellers should continue to obtain PCR test as stated above. So basically, even though you've had the actual vaccination and you've had both doses, you are still required to have a PCR test before you can move either in or out of Greece. So again, it's looking good. We're on the green list despite what Greece is doing of taking the extra precaution by putting areas into red. It's not affecting us in the overall realm of things as a safe place to come to travel after the 17th of May, definitely when the tourist season is up and running. Anyway, also as well, some good news regards the island. There's 2 more Pfizer vaccination lines opening here on Zakynthos, which will now have a total of 5 different vaccination lines. Now, when they say vaccination lines, what they're talking about is the different age group platforms that are, if you fall into that particular category, age of 60, have underlying health conditions, they've opened 2 more vaccination lines to be able to cope with those people who want to have the vaccine. Now, more specifically in Zakynthos, the 2 vaccination lines will be activated with the Pfizer vaccine, and one of them will also operate from the vaccination centre at the hospital, and the other is going to be at the vaccination centre that's been set up in the former ECA office in Zante town. Also, there are already 3 vaccination lines already operating in Zakynthos, 2 of those at the General Hospital, and obviously one of those is at the old ECA office, and they are running with the Pfizer vaccine and also the AstraZeneca. And the AstraZeneca is at the health centre in the former ECA office in town. Once again, if you want to take the vaccine for those people living on the island, the easiest thing to do is to go to your local pharmacy speak to them. They will book you in for an appointment, and they will obviously tell you where you need to go, whether you need to go to the hospital or whether you need to go to the old ECA office in town to have your vaccination given to you there. So that is my advice to you. Go to your local pharmacy, speak to them, and they will obviously book you in and guide you where you need to go. Right. Another story coming up at the moment. This is interesting, actually, this one. A 58-year-old man has been arrested on Monday in Thessaloniki for refusing to allow his son to comply with the government order that he conduct home testing for the coronavirus before he attended classes at school on the Tuesday. Now, the principal had filed a lawsuit after the man had accompanied his son to the school on Monday and demanded that the pupil be allowed to attend classes despite the fact that he had not tested and did not have the necessary certification in line with the safety protocols that had been introduced into the school to allow schools to reopen. Anyway, a prosecutor has charged the man with inciting disobedience and issuing threats and insults against the school. And it was the second arrest of a parent since high schools began reopening last week. Now, on Thursday, the Thessaloniki Court of the First Instance has ordered an urgent preliminary examination after the parent in Thessaloniki had urged students via social media not to conduct the test to attend school. So I'm gonna keep an eye on that and see how that story plays out. Once again, you still have to test now. Not only do school children have to test and teachers have to test, but also people now working in retail shops are now obliged to test once a week, and also people working in takeaways basically that are still operating, they're obliged to test once a week. And as of next week, it will be the responsibility of the business owners to make sure that their employees have complied with testing, and if they don't comply, the business owner gets fined along with the person who should have done the test. So it's going to be interesting phase to see how that is all going to pan out. Anyway, Greece has also announced that 2.5 million doses of coronavirus have been now administered to the general population. The Greek Prime Minister, Mr. Mitsotakis, said that 1.77 million people received at least the first dose, whereas more than 770,000 have received both doses. These figures correspond to a 16.75% of the total population in the first case and 7.45% in the second case. Anyway, the next due appointments for people now, the next people who are going to be able to get the vaccination are those aged between 55 to 59, and also teachers. They will also begin to be registering online as of today so that they can obviously be vaccinated for working in the schools. Those aged 50 to 54 will begin registration for appointments on Saturday. The rate of vaccinations in Greece is about the same as with the rest of the European Union countries. Anyway, with the world's highest COVID vaccination rate, Israel recently has begun employing a vaccination passport program that allows the immunized people access to normality. That's denied people who have not had the shots. Half of Americans and British adults have now received at least one dose of the vaccine. Well, as you know my thoughts on the vaccine. You also know my thoughts on this being forced to have the vaccine. Thank you for the comments from people yesterday saying that in their feeling that people here in Greece will not basically stand for being told to vaccinate. They still want it to be their choice to vaccinate, but we'll wait and see how pressure is brought to bear. Mitsotakis is determined that he wants some form of vaccination passport to be implemented. And interestingly, the Israelis have already implemented basically an identity card to allow people to be able to do things freely in Israel. And if you haven't had the shots, you can't do anything in regards free movement around their country. So again, it'll be interesting to see how that is all going to pan out in the next few weeks, obviously with Easter looming, and also with the fact that we've got for the tourist season almost close to us as well. Now, interestingly, then the European drugs regulator said on Tuesday it found a possible link between the Johnson & Johnson COVID-19 vaccine and rare blood clotting issues in adults who had received the shot in the United States. Now, the European Medicines Agency, the EMA, said its safety committee concluded that a warning about the unusual blood clots with low blood plates should be added to the vaccine's labels. The EMA found that all instances that had occurred in adults under 60 years, mostly women, within 3 weeks of vaccination, added that all available evidence, including 8 reports of cases in the United States, were part of its assessment. It also said that most clots that occurred in the brain and the abdomen, similar to the AstraZeneca vaccine, and reiterated the vaccine's overall benefits outweighs the risks. Anyway, we'll wait and see. All right, that's all I'm going to say. We're going to wait and see how that works out again, and also just how safe things are. So what I'm saying to you, your choice. If you want to have it, have it. If you don't want to have it, you should still be able to have the choice of not having it as well. Anyway, concerns have also been raised by the dramatic increases in the viral load in wastewater of 3 regions during the last week compared to that of the previous week. Now, those locations include Attica, where they had an increase of 17%. Also, Rhythmos, which is in Crete, which had an increase of 120%. And then the worst of all was Ias Nikolaos, also in Crete. That's the Ias Nikolaos there, which had a 360% increase in viral load. And most people are wondering what I'm talking about. Wastewater, the grey water when you flush your toilet or you have your shower and stuff like that, viral load is actually loaded into wastewater. And by checking the sewage plants, they can get a good indication as to what the epidemiological issues are with a certain location. Now, we had calls for that to happen here in Zakynthos. I'm not 100% sure. Tests were being done on our local sewage farm down on the outskirts where the airport is. And there was talk of readings being taken there, although lately we've not heard any feedback as to whether the readings have continued or what the results of the readings were. So again, just that's an indicator that the Greek government is using to see and track the amount of COVID virus that's moving around within the wastewater. Anyway, looking towards Easter at the moment, it looks like plans for the traditional Greek Easter in the ancestral villages of people will have to be dropped for a second consecutive year, as the ban on non-essential travel between regions of Greece is unlikely to be lifted by that time. Now, a number of health experts have warned that lifting the current ban for the Easter celebration will undermine the national effort to contain the spread of the COVID-19 ahead of the country's formal reopening of international tourism on May the 14th. Anyway, through his statements following a meeting with the Greek Prime Minister, the Archbishop of Athens has cautioned the people that they might hear this unwelcome news as Easter approaches. So it's not 100% final at the moment, but basically the Archbishop is saying, listen, you may not be able to go back to your ancestral village. We have a lot of people who come from Athens, come from Thessaloniki, who have homes here. They only normally come in the summer, but they always come back for Easter to spend a bit of time with family, meet up, and basically enjoy Easter with their direct family. Anyway, however, fewer restrictions will most likely be enforced compared to 2020, when Easter liturgies all across Greece will be held behind closed doors and in the absence of faithful to avoid the spread of the coronavirus. It seems that 62% of Greek residents, due to a poll, are yearning for Easter back in their village. Anyway, traditionally, as I've already said, Greek people travel to family-owned homes in the countryside or to the islands to celebrate the significant religious event, which is the biggest event, bigger than Christmas, all right, which is the Orthodox Easter. Anyway, and finally, we have had some information as to what will happen with church services over Easter. Jane and I love Easter Saturday, where we would go up to our Mavra, our local church up there, for the lighting of the candles and the Christos Anesti at midnight. Well, there is going to be some changes put on that came out yesterday. The Permanent Synod of the Holy Synod, the ruling body of the Greek Orthodox Church, decided on Tuesday to hold the main Easter service outside churches 3 hours earlier than the regular time, as part of an agreement with the government on how to mark the religious festivals during the pandemic. Now, instead of the customary midnight resurrection service, which Jane and I would go up to on Easter Saturday, which is May the 1st, the liturgy will be held at 9 p.m. So it's going to be earlier. Okay. Regular services during the Holy Week will take place half an hour earlier at 6:30 p.m. from Monday to Wednesday, and at 5:30 p.m. on Thursday and 6 p.m. on Friday, allowing only one person per 25 square meters and a maximum of 100 people inside the churches. So again, last year we weren't even allowed to go up to the church on the for the Christos Anesti. So we stood out on the balcony and we just looked towards the hills. We heard the bells and the gunfire, and also fireworks were set off, but everybody had to stay in their homes and watch from their homes and listen to the sound of the bells. So at least this year, it looks like we will be able to go up, but we'll obviously have to go earlier than we would do for midnight. Right, so that's the news for today. Just quickly looking at some of the people who are tuning in at the moment. Quick shout out to Alf Ling, nice to see you. Mick Richards, nice to see you as well. Rob Davis is also tuning in. Rose Wood, Emma Marco's tuning in as well. Sue Saint, Andrew the Fridge Watkins, nice to see you. Sue Saint says, good morning, cloudy here in Nottingham. Oh, bless you. Julie Meldrum is watching. Maria Heidelberg in Sweden is also tuning in as well. Steve Brown is watching as well. Nice to see you checking in. Christine Brown is also watching. Christine says, morning, Hinge. Cooler in Nottingham today. Then she wrote underneath, Ginge, bless you. I know these fat fingers of ours. We missed the letter we're after. Anyway, Amanda says the weather for today. Good morning, Ginge. Sunny with some cloud. Highs of 18 degrees. Will feel like 22. Have a good day. And Kenso Wedlake is watching as well. Nice to have you tuning in. And Matt Gregory, obviously tuning in. Oh, excuse me. Christian Wildridge is tuning in. Johnny Hayes. Oh, excuse me, Johnny. Nice to see you. Ginge Coldwell from Leighton Buzzard also tuning in. Lovely to have you checking in, my darling. Amanda Gregory says, yay, green list at last. Yeah, the green list at last. So, yes, the British government is advising you can come here now. We're on the green list, so let's hope we stay on this green list. Nothing untoward will happen. For those people that do live here, yes, or your residents here, you can start to come back. And we know of people already who are rushing around as I speak, getting the PCR test. They've already had the double dose vaccine, and they're just excited that they're able to get back, and obviously they've come back to sort residency permits out and all the other stuff that you have to do now. So anyway, that's a good news, and we should look at that as a positive, as is the rest of the Greek media here on Zakynthos looking at this as a positive as well. Andy Johnson is watching. Nice to have you tuning in. Amanda Gregory says, any news of quarantine hotel yet if test positive at the airport? No word at all yet. All we know is that 7 hotels have been earmarked across Greece. Zakynthos is not one of those locations, but if you think about it, technically, if you've passed your PCR test before you come away, and you've had the double dose of the vaccine before you've come away, then I shouldn't think there'd be any problem. I think it's only when the tourist season gets fully underway and the random testing comes in. And don't forget, the amount of false positives we had last year. Jane was on a boat last year doing a tour. A couple of Czech ladies were on this boat. They got a text message to say they'd been tested at the airport. The result came through and they were positive. Big flap. Oh my God. Boat had to put back into port. Everybody had to get off. These two women had to go to the hospital. And of course, they got there and it was a false positive. All right. So again, hopefully we've moved on from that time. And again, we'll wait and see. But at the moment, no word of quarantine hotels at the moment here directly on the island. But I'm sure there will be an announcement at some point, because the guy who had the quarantine hotel did very nicely, thank you very much, in the fact that he knew that he got paid by the government. He had guests who were of no real bother, to be quite honest. And they were obviously only allowed they had to stay in the hotel. They couldn't leave. And he actually was quite happy. I should think he had less hassle running his plague hotel than he did running a normal hotel. But again, we'll wait and see what's announced on that score anyway, closer to the date. Susan Waldron is tuning in. Lyndon Eriksson is tuning in as well. Nice to see you, Lyndon. Delia Gussetti is tuning in as well. Nice to see you as well. Wendy Norcliffe. Michael Wood is watching. Ian Booth. Oh, Boothie, I hope you're on the mend, fella. And I hope you're feeling better. David McCrosh is watching as well. Maria Hadelberg in Sweden says good morning. And Lisa Jane Baker says, they're talking about the quarantine hotel. Bit of a conversation going on between people, which is fantastic. Also, Heather Nash is watching as well from Birmingham. Morning to you and Jane from a dull Birmingham. Dave Matthews is tuning in as well. Yanni Taskos is watching in. Barbara Telfer. Dave Matthews says, morning from the Lake Bank Fishing Royal Wootton. Oh, Wootton Bassett. I know Wootton Bassett very well, with John Bailey. Anyway, you enjoy yourself on the banks of the Wootton Bassett. In fact, I remember that stretches quite away, the old Wootton Bassett, unless you've driven all the way there, because that's quite a bit of a way from Oxford, if I remember rightly. Patsy Ann Dobson says, good morning, Ginge, from a cloudy Margate. Oh, bless you. Ian Booth is there. Nicola Corris is there. I'm Billy Brotherton. I know your name. He's tuning in as well. Howard Lamb over on the island is tuning in. Barbara Telfer is tuning in, and Heather Beetham is also tuning in as well. Right, okay, just to remind you as well, it's a busy day for me as well. It's my broadcast day, so I'll be broadcasting my Requests and Inspiration show, kicking off at 3 o'clock your time in the UK, which is 5 o'clock my time here in Zakynthos. You've got any requests or dedications, just pop them down below. And yes, I heard the news today that Jim Steinman, the man who was the brains behind Bat Out of Hell with Meatloaf, the composer of that album, he passed away at the age of 73. So I'm going to be playing a few tracks from Meatloaf from the album Bat Out of Hell as a little remembrance for him. Very sad to see that he's passed away. One of the biggest selling albums in the 1970s. It was in the UK charts, I think, in the top 40 for at least 3 years in the 1970s. And it never got to number one. Never got to number one, but it probably outsold everybody in that chart. But it was one of them albums that didn't get the number one slot on the UK albums chart. But an absolute monumental album and a very good stage show as well. The stage show, Bat Out of Hell, when the theatres were open, my brother went and saw it, was absolutely fantastic. And in fact, last year, the mother of one of the principal actors from that musical came to Magdalena's on their holiday, and it was really nice to chat to them all about the production and what their daughter was doing. For the life of me, I can't remember the name of the lady. I do apologise. But anyway, Bonnie Tyler, Total Eclipse of the Heart. Is that a Jim Steinman song? I don't know. I will check on that. But anyway, once again, broadcasting that. Also as well, my Northern Soul show is now up online. And again, if you want to listen to that on Mixcloud, just click on the link, go straight through. And also my dance anthem show from this last weekend, that's also up online as well, and that's doing very well in the chart at the moment. I've been really quite shocked how quickly that has gone into the Mixcloud charts. Right, that's it from me for today. I will keep my ear close to the ground. I'm just looking at my horribly cracked screen on my tablet, and I thought I don't need to be going out and trying to get another tablet. Not there were any available anyway. I'm just so annoyed at myself and dropping my tablet out of the bed last night. But anyway, I will see you later on today. Once again, any request dedications, just pop them in the comments below, and have a good day, and I'll keep my ear to the ground. Ta-ra!